And now for something completely different.
Well, it's good to be back making car videos again. I know it's been a few weeks, but I've been involved with a project to build a new VR simulator, and that just sucked up all of my car time. Hopefully, I'll put that out on the other channel, virtually finished soon, so anyone with an interest in general engineering will hopefully find that of interest. Anyway, before we get back to the main project car, as the weather is still quite summery here in the UK, I thought I should get a few jobs sorted on the properly nearly finished cars. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll hopefully get the Vincent, the GT6 and the V12 Coupe back on the road properly. And then we can get back to the main project car again. So, enough waffle. This is my replica of a 1933 Riley MPH, and it's accurate enough to have all the reliability issues of a 1933 Riley. So, a couple of years ago, I needed to do a gearbox rebuild on this, as whilst it is a replica, the underlying mechanical bits are pretty old. In this case, the engine and gearbox are 63 years old. One of the upgrades I did as part of this, and by upgrades, of course, you know what I mean is made it worse, was to fit an electronic fuel pump. Not one of those high power ones you'd use in a modern car, but a real vintage style SU fuel pump designed specifically for low pressure. The problem is, however, that even though it is low pressure, it's apparently still too much for the weedy needle valves on these Strongberg carburetors. So after a few moments of running, it floods. But anyway, I'll let real-time me explain properly. So the problem we've got is the twin carburetors. Even though we've got a teeny tiny little SU fuel pump, basically as soon as we pressurize the fuel system, we flood the carburetors. Basically fuel comes out of there and then drops straight onto the exhaust pipe, which is special. So I think the first job is we'll get the carbs off, take them back to the workshop, and we'll see if we can readjust the little needle valves, see if we can stop them flooding that way. Okay, just a simple job of then getting everything undone, and we could then take them to work on them somewhere more comfortable. Which of course all went to plan, and as ever with this channel, there were no problems whatsoever. And it definitely wasn't the case that the last screw that connects the choke cable just wouldn't come off. Yeah, the choke cable is held on with a small screw. So, no problem, I hear you say. Just grab a spanner and undo it. Well, my friends, welcome to the world of pretty old cars. God only knows what size that screw is, but it wasn't metric, I can assure you. I'm going to guess it's probably BA size or something like that. And I'm sure I've got a suitable spanner somewhere, but that somewhere wasn't here. Now, the car is about 20 minutes away from where I live, and I just couldn't be bothered to go all the way home to go search for the right size spanner. So I did what all good mechanics would do at this point, and just winged it with the carbs tethered to the car by the choke cable. Anyway, I drained the fuel from the float chambers, and I'll let on-site me explain what we did next. So because I can't get that choke cable out, I'm sort of having to do this in situ. So basically we've got these little floats here, and that's our little needle valve. So the idea is that there's a needle valve. The idea is that float goes up, there's a little arm there, as the float goes up it shuts off the fuel.
Except for whatever reason, on these, it never seems to shut the damn fuel off. So, I'll make a little adjustment to that. See what that does.
As they say in the Haynes manuals, reassembly is the reverse of disassembly. So having adjusted the floats, I put it all back together again. So, did it work? No, of course not. Fuel absolutely pissed out everywhere. Only this time, it came out of both carbs, not just the back one. So that was nice. At this point though, I was reasonably happy that I had actually set up the floats properly. So it was time for an experiment. I had an SU fuel regulator that I'd been using on my GT6, but didn't need to use that on that car anymore because it turns out that despite both cars using the same fuel pump, the SU carbs I have on that one are able to handle the fuel pressure better than these Strombergs. So I realised I could do a relatively quick bodge and take out the fuel filter and replace it with the regulator. Now, this fuel pump is only supposed to deliver 1 to 2 psi, and this regulator only goes down to 1 psi, so it shouldn't really make too much of a difference. But if you don't try, you don't know. So on the regulator went. With everything back together, it was then time for an attempt to start it. What could possibly go wrong? Well, actually the battery can be a bit flat, that's what can go wrong, but I had my jump pack with me, so that was quickly fixed. Holy crap, that was a lot of revs. Fortunately, I switched it off immediately before it did some damage. Clearly something on the reinstall process had gone a bit wrong. And yeah, with a quick bit of diagnosing, I could see that the throttle cable wasn't reconnected quite correctly. So a couple of moments with a spanner soon had that sorted. Excellent. That all looks like it's working. There's a small amount of extra work I need to do to create a proper bracket to hold the fuel regulator, but that's for the next video, along with a quick bit of work on the GT6. I'll see you next time.